Hello everyone, welcome to Heart and Hand Extra, the second weekly free show here from Heart and Hand, where we look back at the events of the week and look ahead to the weekend's action. Joining me today is Paisley's Rose himself. Yes, it's David Marshall. Hello there, mate.
Afternoon, mate. Happy to be back on. No, I was a bit disconcerted when I was on last week and someone said to us that it's good to see David has found another gay-sounding guy to replace Scott.
Yeah, I would admit that while we have a few of those, you wouldn't necessarily have been top of my list.
No, I don't think so.
I would have...
No, there's nothing wrong with that kind of thing.
Not at all. No, not at all. I mean, this is the built this pod, quite frankly. But you would not have been the top of my list. But there, at least, you've got opportunities in other spheres, so to speak. Fingers in other pies, if you like, literally.
Yeah, a wide demographic I'm appealing to.
Absolutely. That's what we're after here at Heart and Hand. We don't care about anyone's personal life. It's just so long as you're a bear, that's all that matters. And speaking of bears, Dave, it's not a bad week at all for Glasgow Rangers. We went last night to Villareal in the opening match of our Europa League group campaign. It was very, very nice to... When European elite football is on, and it takes over for the week and it's on the TV and Sky Sports News, etc., and you're looking at the adverts for the game, it was so nice after too long to be a part of it again, wasn't it?
It really was. It was just, I can't be quite honest with you, David, I'd dip in and out of European football if we're not involved, the Champions League and the Europa League, because I'll watch the latter stages and I'll watch some of the group stages, but if we're not involved or we have been involved and we get put out, then I take a bit of huff of it, to be perfectly honest, because I'd rather be watching Rangers. But it felt really good this week. I got to watch the Champions League games Tuesday and Wednesday, and instead of having that huffiness about me, I just felt excited because it was building up to seeing us play again on Thursday. Like Wednesday night, I was like a kid in Christmas, and just all day Thursday, I was just constantly checking my watch. I watched the game with my brothers last night, and I was just, right, can I go down yet? Like an hour and I can go, half an hour I can go. It just felt really good to be involved again, being back at the party.
It does, because you, as you say, you just feel left out, and I don't know what it's like for fans of other clubs, because maybe it's different if you've never been involved or you never expect to be involved, but if you're like us and you sort of grew up with European football, good level European football, not qualifiers, and getting pumped in, then yes, we missed it a great deal, and everything about it, the buzz. I had friends over there, just like you, couldn't wait for the match to kick off and was really excited, and it lasted a good 45 seconds, David, before my bubble was burst.
When it happened, I was like, there was that thought going in my head going, any chance we can restart this, get a mulligan and just go again? But no, not the ideal start, not a great goal to lose. I think it was an element of luck in their side of things as well, but definitely, it was a great finish. You can't take it away from the boy. Absolutely superb finish, but it was just not an ideal start for us.
It's a strange goal, because when you lose a goal after 45 seconds, I think there has to be an element of either outstanding skill or freakishness. I think it was both. If there was one thing I would criticise, having watched it now quite a few times, if there was one thing I would criticise, it was the way we gave the ball away, because we'd kick off, we had the ball, and then Barisic launched it, they got it, and that's the only thing that maybe we surrendered possession a bit too easily against the Spanish side. However, the ball's then played up to Carlos Bacca, who's a top-class striker, incidentally, has been for years, but played up to him, and he gets lucky in terms of the break of the ball, because it ricochets not off one of our centre-backs, but both. And I've saw some people maybe say, they were too close together, whatever. It's 45 seconds, right? I mean, nobody's settled into the position yet, and they are where they should be. They're at the ball, and they are dealing with a man. The ball just ricochets freakishly into his path, but even then, this is where the skill kicks in. He, as well as the outstanding finish, and it's a beautiful finish, watch the touch he takes just before it, where a lot of strikers would have bounced off them and ran away from them, or they wouldn't have controlled it, or various things, but it just perfectly cushions down so that he can set himself, so that he can unleash that strike. And again, some people had maybe said, well, Al McGregor was a bit far off his line. I really didn't think so, to be honest. And again, it's 45 seconds. I think he's where he kind of needs to be, because if the ball breaks normally, he might need to, rush it, because it's more likely to break at an angle. Or if Baka, his touch hadn't been so sublime, he would have been in a position to get out and face him up. So I just think it was a mixture of kind of freakish break of the ball and extraordinary skill from a top player.
No, I'd agree with that. And on the Alan McGregor point, I saw that myself. Some people saying about him being Coffey's line. I think historically, if Alan McGregor has a flaw in his game, that's one of them. If you look at some of the goals he conceded in his very early Rangers career, he did have a tendency to get caught off maybe a yard or two further forward in his line than what he should have been. But last night, I really don't think you could have pinned that on him, because as you said, David, it's very early in the game. He is where he wants to be. I saw someone arguing as well, if instead of Baka doesn't take that shot, instead he charges down and goal, if McGregor's on his line, then he's getting criticised for not coming out quick enough. So I don't really know what he's supposed to be there. He's just been done by an absolute world-class strike.
And look, it's so frustrating, because we've just talked, the build-up, can't wait, counting down the minutes. 45 fucking seconds into it, you're a goal down. As you say, you're just looking about for something, someone to blame, or something that you can say, it's tough to take when you just think, do you know what? I mean, it's an outrageous effort, and you've got to sometimes hold your hands up and say, we just got done by a quality player. And after that, Rangers don't settle. I don't know if... I thought we looked overawed. Other people have said, I don't think that's the right word, but it looked as though it had taken the wind out of sails quite dramatically. Whatever it was, Rangers looked nervy. Lot of unforced errors. Couldn't get any passing going at all. And Villareal kind of had the slippers on a wee bit. And maybe the early goal actually didn't help, but they weren't as intense then, because I think they'd underrated us anyway, judging by their team selection. And then they were knocking it about. But when you watch the highlights back, the only one that BT could find is the shot from Santi Cazorla, which McGregor beats away. Because they weren't exactly peppering the goal with great efforts. They were knocking it about, don't get me wrong, we couldn't get near them. They had 80% possession, and whenever we did get possession, we did nothing with it. We even forced a few corners, did nothing with them. Rangers just could not get going as an attacking sense in that first half at all. But equally, I think that maybe Villareal thought this is a scoosh, and just maybe took their foot off the gas at a time when we were perhaps vulnerable.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points in that I'd agree with. Firstly, on ourselves, something I was very disappointed with us in the second half was our possession on the ball and how we dealt with that. I thought we looked very uncomfortable, and in Europe you simply won't get away with that. You need to be comfortable when you're in possession, or else you're going to get punished. But when it got to half time, as you said, Villareal were very comfortable, but I felt the same way. I thought, as comfortable they've not been great. They didn't pepper the goal with shots. They were very much playing within themselves. McGregor had the one shot to save from Cazorla, which, let's be honest, he's saving that every day of the week. It's not exactly a testing save for McGregor. So from there I thought, as comfortable they are, if we kick this up again and we're able to hold the ball better, I thought we did have a chance of getting something in the second half.
What we did in the second half, almost immediately, right from the off, I thought, was decide to at least have a go. Now, look, that led to a couple of chances for Villareal. One where Baka, who I've praised, after McGregor comes out and clears from the onrushing Effembe, the ball breaks to him 20 yards out with the open goal to hit, but he puts it past the post. Bad miss, don't get me wrong. And there was a similar effort to that later on in the half. So Rangers, don't get me wrong, are opening up a little more, but equally we're starting to cause them problems. And you did feel, look, they can score again, we know that, but we can hurt that defence if we can get at them. And then I think a match-changing substitution, Glenn Middleton comes on for Heart and Hand's own Lasana Koulibaly. I raised a wee eyebrow at that, if I'm being honest, but he then proceeds to rip their fullback to bits. And not only, David, was Glenn Middleton brilliant, he inspired, I think, other players round him to start driving at them and suddenly Rangers were picking up loose balls, which we hadn't been. The passing was a bit crisper. We got their fullbacks turning. We made life a bit awkward, and we hadn't done that up to this point. And suddenly I just thought, yeah, they could score again, don't get me wrong, and that probably would have been the end of it. But we're in this now. It's not just going to be if we'd played the same way, we would have lost. 100% we would have lost, because we just wouldn't have been able to lay a glove on them. We got them thinking a wee bit in that second half, and I thought Rangers really came into it with Middleton in one wing and James Tavernier on the other, who was excellent in the second half. I thought were the driving forces.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd agree with that totally about the Middleton substitution. I was a bit like yourself. I thought I didn't really think Koulibaly was at the races. I think he just didn't look sharp. I don't know if this game just came a bit too early for him coming back from that injury. I don't know if we'll see him play 90 minutes at the weekend either. I think he'll probably get like the 60 minutes he has the last couple of games as well, just to try and get him back up to that full fitness. Arfield, I thought, would have been a contender to go off at that point. I thought he had a quite awful game up to that point, to be honest. I just didn't think he was at it at all. He was passing with slack. He was, as a lot of the team there, he was horrid in possession, but he seemed to be one of the main culprits in that. But as you said, when Glenn Middleton came on, I don't know if there was his inexperience and immaturity might have helped him, because whereas the other players in the squad you could argue, got overawed by the situation, I think Glenn Middleton was just a young guy who just was happy to be out there, and it didn't matter who he was up against. He was just out there to play his own game, and that's exactly what he'd done. Just immediately when he came on, I think the first thing he did was just grab the ball and just take it a 20-30 yard run up the park, and we hadn't done that yet, and it was right, good, we've got somebody here now that can get at them. And I don't think they were expecting it. I don't think they were expecting to have somebody that quality from our bench coming on. And yeah, I totally agree. He totally changed the game.
Yeah, I think it's a personality thing as well. I think he's just a confident guy. He's a guy who was doing well at Norwich, who left there after progressing to the fringes of the first team to come to our academy, which was a bit of a gamble for him, because it was a slight step down from the status he'd got at Norwich. Bigger club, obviously. But he thought, no, I'm going to back myself. I'll be able to get into the first team here. And yeah, you can't teach that. That's something you either are as a person, or you have as a person, or you do not. And he does. And some thrilling wing play from him, really excellent. And then you're just hoping, let's get a good opportunity. Let's see what happens. James Tavernier, superb surging run. And look, I've criticised referees this season a lot, so get ready, folks. He's running in, guy runs in front of him, Tav kind of shrugs him out the way perfectly legally, but a lot of refs would just have gave the foul because the guy went down, and he didn't, and it was a correct decision. Tav continues his run into the box, gets halved. The referee though signals advantage, which suggests to me, Dave, you've refereed, suggests to me he was going to give the penalty once the attack broke down, but it didn't, because Tav, before getting halved, had got the ball out to Daniel Candeias. He crosses into the box. The on-rushing Scott Arfield arrives and clips a beautiful high finish into the top of the net. No,
I totally agree with you in the point of the referee. Firstly, Tav winning the ball, you're right, that's a very easy decision for a weak referee to give. It's one of the ones that...
It's given in Scotland.
If you don't have a good view of it, yes, absolutely. It can look 50-50. If you're a referee and you've got a behind kind of look at it, if you're looking at it coming forward, so it's easier to give it in favour of the defender at that point. Referee didn't, correct decision. And again, you're right, he played advantage for the challenge that Tav received in the box. Stonewall penalty kick, but referee had the common sense to see where the ball was going. We're in a great position, we take full advantage. And again, it's a great bit of play and a lovely finish by Arfield, a guy who I was wanting off the park 5 minutes beforehand.
I was as well, but I thought
and an excellent goal by us.
I was as well, wanting Arfield off. I thought he was rotten for an hour, and then great for half an hour. So agreed. That's what we need from him for 90. But yeah, and then you think, oh my God, what a great moment. It was just outstanding. It felt so good, from people in the stadium to people in bars across Scotland to people watching on the internet around the world to us watching at home. It was just outstanding. What a great moment. And a moment it was, David, because 90 seconds later, it's 2-1 to Villareal, when Borna Barisic, I think, gets caught slightly, doesn't really know whether to tuck in or to stay wide, does neither in the end up, which means that Gerard, their substitute who comes on, something in that name, Gerard, who is a brilliant player, folks, keep an eye out for this boy, £20 million or euros they paid for him, and he's class. And as you see, once he finds a wee bit of extra space, because of Borna's starting position, he can't get close enough to force him down the line, which allows him to turn onside into his favoured left foot and smashes a low shot through Borna Barisic's legs, past Alan McGregor into the bottom near side corner. Unstoppable effort once it gets away, but I'll be honest, Dave, the wind went out my sails because I thought, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, same. It was so deflating at that point, because unlike you, we just had this great moment, and even when I was watching the games, talking about my brother, said, "Oh, we went from getting beat to Queen of the South midweek games of the Challenge Cup, and we're back in the Europa League, and oh fuck, they've just went ahead again." Brilliant. Agreed. Barisic was caught out completely, and take nothing away from the finish, however, because I'm looking at that from a goalkeeping point of view. The easier shot is to go across the goalkeeper, but then you're bringing him into play because McGregor's got then a chance to. It would still be a difficult save to make, but he's got a chance to get ahead, to dive forward and try to get the ball there. When you're bringing it in, cutting it through Barisic's leg into the near post, McGregor's totally footed the wrong way because he's preparing to make a save the other way. He can't really see it until it's too late because it has gone through the defender, and it's just so accurate into that bottom corner. It was, from a neutral point of view, it was an absolutely superb finish by Gerrard, but it was just such a big kick in the balls for us at that point, and I did worry about how we were going to react to it.
Yeah, it was a massive, massive boot in the stones, and a concern that a few friends, we talked about it last night ourselves, and then a few people had texted me or messaged me or whatever, and I'm sure that there were a lot of Bears out there were perhaps worried that they maybe had another gear and that they could go up, and it sort of looked then that, oh well, here we go, and they might go on and get another one, and they've just lifted themselves. We couldn't have been further from the truth, because Rangers refused to buckle at all, and then Borna Barisic maybe made a slight error. Now that's all, just a slight one before everyone goes nuts at me, but makes up for it by showing what he can do after getting on the end of a superb Glenn Middleton pass, which had Martin Keown on the BT highlights absolutely drooling last night, and it really was top drawer. Plays in Borna Barisic, we know what he can do when he gets on the run like that. He delivers an inch perfect ball right across the goal, and running in past his man, perfectly timed run, striker's instinct. There's Big Kyle, the Ulster Gazelle gets there, and a lovely finish into the bottom corner past the keeper for, quite frankly, David, one of the best goals you will see in any European game this week. It was top class.
No, I totally agree with it. I think with both teams' second goals, it was those kind of goals that you can see happening after the initial pass is made. I think when Gerrard gets the ball for their goal, when Barisic is out of position, I think my thought at that point was the most likely outcome here is a goal, and they did. And same with our goal, when Middleton makes that pass, and I'm looking at the screen and I can see then Lafferty making his run in the box. My initial millisecond thought is this is going to be a goal. What a pass by Glenn Middleton to set up Barisic. I mean, if a Man City or a Barcelona or Real Madrid player does that, it's on every highlight reel for the rest of the week. It was just utterly superb. Great cross in by Barisic, and something I don't think's been talked about enough as well. A fine finish by Kyle Lafferty. He has to make the decision quickly. He has to take that first time. It's a difficult one to take as well. He's got a defender coming in. The goalie, it'd be an easy one to smash off the goalie, but he gets enough, swerve or spin on it on the ground to just take it away from him. Goalie gets a toe into it, but not enough to keep it out, and just a really, really good goal.
There was still 15 minutes left, so Hearts were still in the mouths for a bit, but then, extraordinarily, Rangers almost win it when Graham Dorran's, good to see him back, sporting a classic John Gregg style beard. An outstanding bit of play where he just basically dribbles round three of them, and then a blind reverse pass through to the on-rushing Scott Arfield, who unfortunately, and I must admit, I thought when he's found the pass and there's Arfield, I thought, oh my fucking God, we're going to win this. but he just couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. He ends up just being able to toe poke it, and the keeper collects. But I thought, we're going to nick this. I really did.
Yeah, I mean, I was on. We were on last week talking about Graham Dorrance, and I was a bit dismissive of him, David. But I tell you what, if he plays like he did in the 50-minute cameo we got last night, he'll be an asset for us if he can come on and do that for the 20, 30 minutes left of a game. Did not expect to see that from him. It was a lovely bit of play, as you said. The Arfield one, it was we just didn't get the run the ball, the wee bit of luck we needed with that one. I don't know if he's maybe expecting to get clattered as well, and he just thinks he needs to get it off as quick as he can. But what a moment had it been if he burst in the net. It was almost, you were getting the point, you were almost feeling greedy, we're getting a point away to Villareal, and you're like, we were that close to getting the free as well.
We were, and you're absolutely correct, and you say we were getting greedy, and we were nearly brought down to earth severely. Villareal, 2 late chances. Gerrard gets a header at a corner. I'd have been fucking fizzing if, after all, with all the skillful talent he had up front, we'd given one away at a corner. But he gets a header, flashes it wide of the post, and then a sitter, no other way to describe it, in injury time. Great cross from the left wing, from our left side, comes over, eludes everybody, standing there at the back post, just waiting. All he needs to do is head it down into the open net from about 2 yards, is Carlos Bacca. Thankfully, he screws his header slightly wide, it bounces down wide of the post, up and away to safety, and Rangers have got a point that I think we deserve, because we showed heart and we showed balls and we showed skill. That's the thing. It wasn't luck or blunderbuss. It was precision football at times. And yes, Villareal will feel they should have won it, but they didn't, and we'll take that. It's happened to us a couple of times this season where we should have won games and didn't, and nobody felt any sympathy for us, so I'm not going to feel any sympathy for them. Great result. I think now gives us a good chance, actually, or a platform at least, to get out of this group, because it's the toughest match we'll have. If we win our home games now, we'll put ourselves in a very good position. But more importantly, David, I think that the thing I would like the team to take out of this, and Steven Gerrard spoke about this at his press conference today, is that they need to believe they're a better team than they currently seem to do at times, because they are. And when we try to worry about the opposition rather than our own game, i.e. Parkhead, i.e. here, i.e. Motherwell, we struggle more than when we just go out and say we're going to impose ourselves on you. And I just wish our players, or I hope our players, take from this that it's about what you do. And Rangers fans will accept us going down occasionally if we go down the way we did in the second half, if you go out swinging. But being timid and sitting off and not being brave on the ball, which we weren't in the first half, that doesn't work for a start, so there's no point doing it. Stop giving teams too much respect. Just go out there, try your game, and more often than not, I think it'll work.
Absolutely. When we get in that park, let's give respect to absolutely no one. Let's remember who we are. Remember what club you're playing for, and you're there for a reason. You're playing with Rangers for a reason, and you're playing under Steven Gerrard for a reason as well, because you're good enough to do it. We're in this position. We've got to this Europa League group stages because we were good enough to do it over 4 qualifying rounds. That's a great achievement. It was achieved by these guys in the team. So go out there and play your best game. It's almost that Mark Wilton thing, David, about we worry about ourselves, but now we've actually got a team that's good enough to do it. Let's go out there, let's play our own game. This group is absolutely wide open now. Last night was a free hit for us. If we got beat, fair enough. But we've got a point more than we expected. The next game against Rapid Vienna at Ibrox is going to be absolutely huge. But if we win that game, I think we're favourites to qualify from the group now.
I think if we were to win, say, 2 of our home games, you're sitting on 7 points, and at that stage you're very much in the conversation. Absolutely. Look, the thing about this group, as we said before it, that Villareal are the favourites, but the rest of the teams will feel they can get out of it. Haven't seen anything to change my mind there last night. The Russians are a good side, but notoriously poor travellers, which gives me, and you saw that again last night as they go down to Rapid Vienna, because teams are going to take points off each other in this group. So yeah, I think we've a chance of getting out of this group, I really do, which would be beyond remarkable. Getting here was pretty remarkable, getting out of it would be. But more importantly, it's just a pride thing. It's seeing Rangers in Europe not only back at a high level of competition, but competing and being value for it. And that, I think, is what was the most heartening thing from last night. Moving on to this weekend's game then, Dave, we will be taking on St Johnstone at Ibrox. St Johnstone haven't had the best of starts. Rangers, obviously, as has been spoken about, had dropped a few points themselves, but St Johnstone haven't been great. I think have dropped off from the level they had been at the first few years under Tommy Wright last season. Rangers recorded a 3-0 and a 4-1 victory over them at McDermott Park. However, we got tonked 3-1 at Ibrox in one of the worst performances in a season littered with them last year, after taking the lead. So they won't have any fear of coming to Ibrox, and Rangers will need to go out and win this match. And look, because of the start we had, and there were reasons for it, and we talked about it on this show, but we did say we have a string of winnable fixtures coming up and we have to win them. And the manager, I think, echoed what a lot of us maybe thought at the back of our minds, which is, he said, I loved the Villareal thing, it was brilliant, great achievement, but the St Johnstone game is more important because that's our priority. Because getting to the Europa League was important, but it's done now. This is our bread and butter, and we need 3 points.
I'd agree with the manager there. I think the league has to be our priority. It is our bread and butter. We have been terribly underperforming it for the stats of our club the last 2 years. Finishing third is simply unacceptable for Rangers. It just is in this day and age. In terms of this St Johnstone game on Sunday, I'll be perfectly honest saying I've not watched any St Johnstone this year, not full games anyway. I've seen highlights and that's it. Looking at the results, David, though, I think, just go by the results, I think they're probably at par for what you'd expect from this year. They've had 2 wins in the league against Dundee and Hamilton Accies, so that's 2 teams that are going to be fighting relegation. 2 home draws against Hibs and Aberdeen, so that's 2 decent results, to be fair. The one they're probably disappointing with was a 2-0 away defeat to Kilmarnock. They probably hoped to get something there, and I would have gave them a shot for, talking about fighting for Europe. They'll need to beat teams like Kilmarnock, but I think they're about par for where they are. In terms of Sunday, I think we know what to expect from them. They'll make it difficult for us. But again, we're in this position now where it's about worrying about what we can do. Not too much worries for ourselves about coming in with a European hangover. James Forrest, here's your plug. But I think we'll be alright. I don't know, maybe if this is a game for us to try again testing the 3 at the back system. I was talking about that last week. I think these home games might be the time, if we're going to try out new systems, to do it then. But ultimately, I can see it being quite a stuffy game, but I think we'll have enough to come through by either the odd goal or a couple of goals.
You know what you're going to get with St Johnstone? They're going to be organised.
Yeah.
We know that. They're going to work very hard. Maybe lack a bit of quality up front. They lost Stephen McLean in the summer, of course. And that may be their Achilles heel at the moment. But they will break on us, as they've done at Ibrox in the past. And like I say, they don't have the fear of the place. They've had a few wins over the last few seasons. So I think Rangers, we should absolutely win it. In terms of freshening the side up, Niko Katic was rested last night, with the manager saying he felt he looked a wee bit jaded, so he gave Joe Worrell his debut, which he came through absolutely no problem. So yes, you're right, that option is available. And we do have players who can come back. Borna Barisic went off injured last night, but we wait to see or to get further news on that. But that would mean that the suspended for last night, John Flanagan, could come in. Alfredo Morelos can come in as well. We've got Glenn Middleton, who I think is absolutely battering down the door for a start at the moment. So
yep.
you look around the team and there are instantly 4 or 5 guys you would say are first team players who are available to come in and freshen it up a little. So I'm like you, I'm not accepting a Euro hangover in quite the same way that maybe did after UFA, because 9 men, Russia, the travel, etc. There was a lot more to that, and we didn't have the ability to freshen the side up the way that we do but Saturday we're at home against a side who probably aren't a top 6 side. I don't think that fatigue will wash as an excuse, and I don't think the manager would accept it anyway.
No, I mean, that's one thing for sure. The manager definitely wouldn't accept that. He's something we've been lacking the last, almost last decade as a mentality. Steven Gerrard has absolutely got the right mentality to be Rangers manager. The guy's just a winner out and out, and he wants guys to play for Mark Winners as well. So I don't think, there's going saying, "Oh, Gaffer, we had a hard game on Thursday when we're playing St Johnstone, is going to wash the end at the club now."
No, I don't think so either. We called it bang on last week, 4-0 to Rangers.
We did.
I even got the James Tavernier will score a penalty, but I screwed up my bet because I had James Tavernier to score, Rangers 4-0, but I had most goals in the second half. I thought it'd be 1-0 at half time and we'd go in the second, but I was wrong. This week I think it'll be tighter because I don't think they're as open as Dundee are, which I think is obviously evidenced by the results, but I still see Rangers having enough about us, and I'm going to go for 2-0 to the Teds. David?
Yeah, I'm going to go the same route as you. I'm going to go 2-0, and I think we might need to wait a wee bit for the goals. I think the goals will come between the 60th and 75th minute.
Oh, right, okay, so a patient day required at Ibrox, because we're renowned for that in the stands, aren't we?
Indeed.
Yeah, we're very famous about our people know about the Rangers, so we will just go, come on lads, keep it going. But yeah, we'll definitely try our best in that regard. Okay folks, thank you very much for listening to us. Now we'll be back on Monday with the next free show, but if you can't wait to hear more from Heart and Hand, and in fact you really, really should. I had a few people last night saying to me, "Oh David, I wish you would do a pod tonight," and I'm like, I have done a pod tonight, it's over on Patreon. You don't need to wait for these two per week. You will find loads over at Heart and Hand Rangers podcast on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Heart and Hand. It's $1.99 per month. So come on, $1.99 per month. I'm practically giving this stuff away. You will love it. 5 shows per week, loads and loads of great stuff. Just today, in fact, young Marshall dropped an absolute belter of a show. David, did you not?
Indeed, myself, Ian Hogg and Andy McGowan did a Six of the Best episode with Mark Catley. If you're not familiar with my show, basically we sat down and talked about 6 of the best moments from Mark Catley's Rangers career, and I love doing these shows with you guys, the 9 in a row era shows, because it's an era that was just before my time, and getting to listen to you reminisce. I'll be perfectly honest, I do these shows and sometimes forget I'm hosting because I'm just having such a good time listening to you guys. If you grew up in that era, or if you're like me and you're just, a Rangers history buff and you like learning about the past, could not recommend this one more highly. No,
it's a great show. Thoroughly enjoyed it myself. And earlier this week, you may have read in the papers, if you're still going down that route, quotes from Richard Gough about James Tavernier. Well, they came from an interview that we did with him on Heart and Hand earlier this week. Yes, we sat down with the skipper and discussed all sorts of things. And it's the kind of content that we can do that you can't get anywhere else. So if you are still getting your news from the mainstream media, they're getting their news from us as well, so you might as well just go direct to the source. $1.99 per month. If you want to support the show in another way, you can by going to our website, heartandhand.co.uk, where you'll find loads of blogs and interesting content. But you'll also find the Heart and Hand shop selling all manner of Heart and Hand branded shite. We've got phone cases, we've got mugs, which they stay staunch on them, t-shirts, you name it. If it's a bit of shite that we can lamp on our logo, trust me, we have, and we will sell it to you for an inflated markup price and spend the money, usually going to Ibrox. So please visit heartandhand.co.uk for all your tat needs. Thank you.
Hashtag tits with tats.
Hashtag tits with tat, yeah, post a picture of it. Thank you very much to my guest today, the lovely Mr. David Marshall.
Pleasure as always, David.
And where can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at MarshallDave38.
What's that hockey thing you've launched this week? You might as well plug it while you're here.
Oh, yeah. So, for people that know me as well, one of the things I do is I work for the Glasgow Clan as their match night live reporter. So I'm doing
just in case any Tims are listening. Glasgow Clan refers to an ice hockey team. Before you get Phil style excited.
Indeed. So I'm doing my wee project of my own for mostly for uni, but it's just something I'd quite like to carry on as well. So I'm trying to start my own hockey news and media content website. It's called On The Line Hockey. Please give it a follow on Twitter at OTL Hockey. That's at OTL Hockey. And we're going to be doing like match reports, preview blogs, and video and audio content as well. So please give that a wee follow.
Fantastic. Thank you to our producers in London, Mike Lee and Paul Miles. We will be back on Monday. Till then, moan the Gers. We'll speak to you then. Thanks. Bye.